Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of That's Right, I Said It. I appreciate you joining me once again. Hey, YouTube's starting to take notice. You know, my subscribership has increased pretty exponentially in the last several days. We're up to almost 250 subscribers. I had over 53 comments just on yesterday's video. I mean, that's pretty substantial, you know, in less than 24 hours. And that just goes to show you that people need this. People need an open environment, an open forum, a network where they can go and, you know, be heard and have a voice and kind of a platform that everyone can, you know, discuss amongst themselves where they're at, you know, with their substance use or abuse, you know, tapering, cold turkey, coming off of X substance, whatever it is. All of that can be heard and discussed on this channel, including, you know, I go through and discuss, you know, comments. I take some of my subscribers' comments each day, read them out, kind of talk about it, give some advice. We have a very, very supportive and collective knowledge base on this channel of subscribers who have been to the rodeo and back, as I like to call it, or as like the old timers used to call it. It ain't my first time to the rodeo, kid. I mean, that's what you get on here. You know, there's a lot of people who have been there, done that, and they offer their support, you know, through the comment section. And it's a good place to just come, be heard, tell your story, and feel that support and that encouragement, you know, from other people who have experienced the same sort of thing that you have. I'm just a guy on my lunch break, right? I have a college degree in human development family studies, so I know one thing or two about mental health, but I'm not coming to you as some doctor or some mental health expert or a drug addiction specialist. Everything that I know is from the school of hard knocks of being an adult man who has struggled with substance abuse for a lot of my life. So I talk about things on here that most people would be embarrassed to talk about, right? I talk about them on this channel and people are digging it. Okay, so if you appreciate the transparency and the diplomacy with which I handle everything on here, and diplomacy just means dealing with people in a sensitive and effective way, you know, and I think I have the ability to do that because an addiction is not a one size fits all proposition. It's not. We're all at different places. We're all at different levels. We're all at using different varying substances, a lot of us. So you really get a true mixed bag of opinions when it comes to things like addiction, how to control addiction, or not control addiction, because the prevailing school of thought there is that you can't control an addiction. But we go into all that too. We go into all of it on here. So just take 2 seconds, hit that subscribe button. It's a free service. I don't ask anything else. Your payment is hitting that subscribe button. Then you don't have to worry about it anymore. You going about your merry way. And hey man, you know, YouTube's starting to take notice. We got something good going on here. And I've had tons of people pop on. I love your videos. I love your channel. I love the way you're running it. I get support here. I get encouragement. There's accountability because we don't want to see anyone, you know, we don't want to see any lives ruined from drug addiction. So that's what we're all about on here. But we also address the fact that, hey, you know, when it comes to stuff like Kratom, we talk a lot about Kratom on here. You know, a lot of people, there are people that are okay with their Kratom use. There are people that do not go overboard with it, like some people do, right? But then the person standing next to that person is a person who takes 100 grams a day and hasn't shit in 2 weeks because they're constipated. That was kind of random. But no, it is a side effect. It is a side effect of Kratom. So anyway, before I get started, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to move on with the video. So I'm still down to 2 grams. I took 2 grams again yesterday. Today will be my first day breaking under 2 grams. I will take 3 capsules today, which is 1.5 grams. And I'll take that this evening before I go to bed, and hopefully my sleep will be okay. I don't really have I'm not really experiencing any physical withdrawals at this point. You know, a little bit of the kind of anhedonia and like, damn, I wish I had some Kratom, you know, little bit of that sort of feeling, but you know, nothing that's overwhelming at this point, that's for sure. And I have to keep putting one foot in front of the other, you know. That's kind of the name of the game in life, you know. Because if you're not moving, you're doing what? You're sitting still, you know, and you don't want to be stagnant in your life, you know. You have to keep moving forward. It's just, that is, in my opinion, the definition of a successful life. You always have to be progressing and being better on Tuesday than you were on Monday, right? I mean, so that's where we're at on this channel. So we would love to have you join. You can look in the comments and tell that people just let all their feelings and ideas and perceptions, they let them run free in the comments. And I love that, man. When I look on that video that I recorded less than 24 hours ago, and I'm like, wow, 53 comments. And most of those are not me, you know, it's just people just, you know, talking back and forth and sharing ideas. And so, bro, that is so important, you know, to be heard when you're dealing with something like an addiction. You know, just to be heard is very empowering in and of itself. And we need that, you know, to be able to move to the next stage, you know, whether that be getting off of it completely or just curtailing your use so that your experience with something like Kratom is a much more healthy sort of balance and relationship, whichever it is. I'm not campaigning against Kratom or trying to get anyone off of Kratom. That's not why I'm here, you know. But we got a lot of people out there that have been blindsided by it, thinking that it's just this harmless thing that you can just pick up anywhere online at any gas station or any head shop, and then they start taking it, and then they realize that they're addicted to it and that they've gone overboard with it. And when they try to stop, they're starting to have withdrawals, even physical ones, right? So I made this channel as a way to try to help people through that process, because it's something that happened to me as well, you know, as a person who had a previous history 10, 15 years ago with addiction to opiates like pain pills, Vicodins, Percocets, things like that. Well, years after that, after I had been clean off of those opiates for years and years and years, over a decade, I discovered Kratom. And I'm like, huh, what's this? What's Kratom? Oh, a replacement for opiate. Oh, well, I shouldn't try this, but because I have a drug addict mentality, I'm absolutely gonna try this. And so I did. And then 4 years later, here we are. I'm still taking the Kratom, and at this point, I'm starting to come off of it. So that's where I'm at. You know, I made sure that I planned it out this evening to where I'm going to kickboxing with my son this evening, make sure I get a good workout in, make sure I'm keeping myself engaged with something. This is the first time I'm going to be under 2 grams in a long while with Kratom. So I wanted to make sure that I practiced what I preach, that I was engaged in something, that I was doing something, that I was focusing on something else, something productive. And that's, you know, working with my son on kickboxing and stuff like that. So after I get out of work today, going straight home, changing clothes, grabbing my 17-year-old, we're heading straight to the Muay Thai gym, and we're going to train for about an hour and a half. And that's what my evening's going to look like. And then I'll take my little measly 1.5 grams when I get home this evening, and hopefully I can lay it down to sleep, man, because the baby kept me up last night. I have a 2.5-month-old at home. He kept me up most of the night last night, me and his mom both. Which is why I've been doing this taper. You know, I've had plenty of people pop on, hey dude, just rip the Band-Aid off. Don't you want to, you know, just get done with it quicker? Just go ahead and do a cold turkey, bro. I'm like, bro, you're not in the same situation I'm in. You know, maybe that would be good for you, but me at this point, no. I got to do a taper. I got to make it somewhat easier on myself, because sleep with a 2-month-old at home is very difficult to come by as it is, right? So then you throw a cold turkey withdrawal into the mix. Nah, bro. No. I have in my own mind how I want to do this, and so far so good. So I'm gonna read a couple of comments. So hopefully we can work our way through these. Jonas Ray talks. Jonas, what's up, bro? Jonas says, I got to taking extract every day when I specifically talked about using it once in a while. a month ago. Cutting those out completely from my weekly life. And I was in contact with him earlier this morning, and he hasn't taken an extract, or he didn't take an extract yesterday. So that's what's up, brother. You know, and Jonas is a young man. I mean, he's only, I think, 21 years old, he said. So, you know, it's never too early to start understanding, you know, how these substances come into your life and how they can affect you and how they can easily become a slippery slope, you know. And a lot of 21-year-olds, just to be completely honest, do not have that forethought, you know. And he's a very smart young man, and I think he sees that, you know, I know he was in an accident several years ago, a bike accident, motorcycle accident, that he experiences some chronic physical pain for. So it may be something he'll never come off of it. He might have to take it to some degree, and that's okay. But I think he realized, you know, that there's a fine line there between taking what you need and taking what you want. You know, there is a difference in those two things. And with something like Kratom, those lines can easily be blurred. Okay. So anyway, thank you, Jonas, and good luck, bro. I know we'll be in touch. At James H 3527, 21 days clean. You're right. The acute stuff was bad, but after the boredom or whatever that is and mental stuff was really tough. Still is, but gets better each day. Sleep is still messing with me unless I get a ton of exercise out in this Texas heat. Yeah, thank you, bro. 21 days clean. Wow, that's awesome, man. That is awesome. I'm so glad to hear that. You're doing it, bro. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. And man, I can't imagine the Texas heat right now, brother. I'm in North Carolina, and you know, North Carolina is a pretty tropical state as well. It gets pretty freaking hot here and humid. God, man, I can't even imagine what it's like in Texas right now. But anyway, great job on that, bro, and keep doing your thing. This is from at Firestarter 1115. After 7 days clean from Kratom, I relapsed with poppy tea. I want to say I went to look up poppy tea a few months ago when I was kind of starting to come off of Kratom, and after looking up a few sources, I realized that I was kind of starting to run into some dead ends. And I know there are ways that you can get the poppy pods, you know, to get the poppy latex off and make a tea out of it, get high off of it, all that. And actually did a little research on it. And luckily, at some point throughout that process on that Saturday morning, God reached down and thumped me in the top of the head and was like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing looking up stuff about poppy tea? I had heard it on some YouTube channel or something like that. I was like, huh, you can buy that? Really? Poppy tea? You know, and that would have been such bad news bears if I would have done that. If I'd have went from Kratom to poppy tea, I already know me, and that would have been bad news, man. And that's what Firestarter's talking about here. I started the day with coffee and modafinil. Damn, I'm bad with this. Modafinil. And then I was too itchy, I guess. It says ICHY, but I think he meant itchy. It was compulsive. My mind was forcing me into using it, and I gave in. But that's it. No more poppies or Kratom around. I am curious how I am doing tomorrow. The restless legs were almost completely gone after 7 days, but my energy was still not there. I hope I will not get acute withdrawals again. If it's been more than 7 days, bro, I wouldn't worry too much about that. I think the acutes have probably pretty much subsided. But I like your way. Tapering is the way to go for me. I once tapered down from 270 milligrams of morphine a day with only minor withdrawal symptoms. It took me a year, but Kratom is different. The opioid withdrawal symptoms are milder when compared to morphine, but the stimulant effect from Kratom is what is making it a little harder for me. The Kratom detox is almost like detoxing from stimulants and opioids at once. That's a good comparison, man. And I've never heard it described that way. But I do think that that's one of the reasons that the mental component is the way it is, like the depression and the anhedonia and stuff like that. It makes sense. Because I remember years back when I did kind of have a stint with Adderall where I was taking Adderall. Well, by taking, I mean abusing the shit out of and snorting them up my nose and everything. I did get to a point where I wasn't using them that way, but when I first got prescriptions for them, I was going through periods of time where I was, snorting them up my nose and just taking too many in one day and just all kinds of stuff. But I remember when I put those down and came off of those, I had about a week where I was just like, blah. Man, can my brain make at least just a speck of dopamine? Please, just one little speck of dopamine. That's all I ask for. I mean, it's just horrible. No energy, low mood. The anhedonia was palpable. I mean, I could just reach out and just grab the anhedonia. I mean, it was right there, ever present. And Adderall's a stimulant, so I think the stimulants do tend to carry that mental component a lot. Whereas the opioids, they carry more the physical component of the withdrawals, right? So it makes sense that Kratom's a little bit of both. It's kind of a stimulant. It's kind of an opioid as well. So you get a little mixed bag of both of the types of withdrawals that come with that. He says comparable to maybe tramadol detox. I've never detoxed from tramadol, so I'm not sure about that. But with Kratom, I prefer a faster taper down with the classic opiates. Because it is harder for me to stay disciplined with Kratom than with other opioids, strange but true for me, Kratom is no joke for a guy with an addictive personality and depression. Ding, 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 ding. You're exactly right, brother. I'm glad you said that, and I agree. Stay focused. You got this. Let's have trust in our bodies so that they can be the temple that we deserve. Edit. Kratom is such a different thing to different people. A lot of people, for example, lose appetite and lose weight. For me, it is the other way around. I just can't stop eating on it. I gained almost 10 kilograms in 3 years on it. I have no idea what 10 kilograms is. Here in America, we use pounds, and I do not know the conversion for that. Maybe somebody can leave that in the comment. And he says next, when I detox it, the weight falls off. So when he comes off of Kratom, the weight falls off. He said, sorry for my English. I am not a native speaker. Cheers. Brother, your English was perfectly understood. Especially not being English as your first language. I really appreciate you taking the time to give us, a detailed comment such as this. And I get it. Hey, the relapse with Poppy T, it is what it is, man. You know where you messed up there. And, now you don't have either one. You don't have Kratom or the Poppy T. So now you need to take the steps to put one foot in front of the other each day, stay off of each of them. Obviously, opiates are a slippery slope for you. So that's where you are with it. And I really appreciate the comment, man. And, keep us updated on where you're at as well and your progress. At Tyler Logan 4900, man, I ended up sick and having to work labor, so I threw my tapering out the window. I need a better time to do all of this, but that's what addiction always says. yeah, pretty much. I have one of these stumbling block addict excuse moments a couple of months ago when my son was born. Because when I first started this channel, I was coming off of the MIT 45 extracts, going on to the Kratom powder, and then I was doing a taper to come completely off of the Kratom powder. Well, I got down to about 2.5 grams, and then all of a sudden my wife and I find out that she's pregnant. Not only is she pregnant, she's 35 weeks pregnant, and we didn't even know she was pregnant the whole time. This was like straight off of that show. I didn't know I was pregnant. So we find out that she's pregnant on Saturday, goes to the doctor on Tuesday, learns that she's 35 weeks, and then that following Friday, her water breaks, and my son was born a month early. at 8 months. So we had 6 days to prepare for having a baby. And so I did the same thing, you know, and that was a big, huge, massive, stressful life event for me. And for those who have been watching longer, you already know I'm a 47-year-old guy. If you're just starting to watch, I'm 47. Having an infant, having another baby at my age was not in the cards, was not planned whatsoever. So you can imagine what kind of stressful life event that was for me. And I absolutely used that as a reason and as an excuse to throw my taper completely out the window. So I did. When my son was born, I completely abandoned my taper, and for a while there, it was just kind of taking what I wanted when I wanted. And so for about the past 2.5 weeks, I've been back on the taper, and now I'm down to, as of today, 1.5 grams. So if you want to go and back watch my other videos, a lot of people are doing that. They're saying they're going and binging my other videos, which is very humbling. I really appreciate that. You'll hear all about it. You know, just go back and look. You'll hear all about it. But anyway, Tyler, thank you, bro. It happens, man. It happens. You know, but again, there is accountability here. You know, next time, when your addict brain starts to throw those excuses at you, oh, well, what about this? Or this isn't a good day for it because you got this going on. Oh, well, I got to work today. I don't want to be, oh, well, today's my birthday. I don't want to be miserable on my birthday. And it starts throwing these excuses at you to use just a little more, or to come off of your taper and to use more. You know, try to keep your hands busy. Try to keep your mind busy to recognize those pitfalls and to recognize those triggers, you know, and try to be, a lot of this is just about mental maturity and spiritual maturity, and just knowing that that's your addict brain trying to trick you into using again. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do it. You run you. Your brain does not control what your body does. Well, it does, but it doesn't have to. You see what I'm saying? If you can control your mind, then you can control your body and what your body ingests, is the point I'm getting at. But anyway, Tyler, thank you so much for the comment, bro. So the rest of the video is going to be probably around this comment right here, and this is just to goes to show you guys the type of diplomacy that I try to practice on here. Because I made a comment yesterday about, you know, the fact that here I am really literally in the next couple of days about to jump ship completely off of Kratom, right? Which, that's great, you know, and everybody's kind of giving me the pats on the back. You got this, bro. You're doing great. And I'm very appreciative of that. I really, really am. But I expressed yesterday how it occurred to me that the hard part is still ahead, you know, getting off of it, the withdrawals, the tapering, all these other things that go along with coming off of something like Kratom. That's hard enough, but the real hard part comes with putting the minutes, the days, the weeks, the months behind you, being completely off of something like Kratom, right? And maintaining that level of abstinence or sobriety with something like Kratom. And I expressed that, you know, I didn't know if I was really going to be doing that or not. You know, and there's different schools of thought. There's the NAAA school of thought that says, you know, your body basically has an aversion and an allergy to drugs. You can't use any mind-altering substance, because if you use a mind-altering substance, that is potentially a breakout moment for you. That is potentially a relapse in your disease, which is going to send you down this horrible rabbit hole of, you know, and that's kind of the thought process behind AA and NA. And I had made the comment yesterday in my video that, you know, I'll never go to AA or NA. It's just not something I'm intending on doing. And of course I wasn't saying anything negative about those groups, because I know those groups have saved the lives of countless, you know, throughout the years. But inevitably, I knew, especially as the channel began to grow, I knew somebody was eventually going to say, hey, dude, you know, why? What's the issue with NA or AA? Well, it happened. It happened last night, and I want to read this gentleman's comment. It was a very positive interaction, and I've expressed on here multiple times that you don't have to think the exact same way I do. You don't have to agree with what I think or what I feel or what I practice. We don't have to even agree. We can agree to disagree, but we can respect each other, you know? And as long as we do that and we share our opinions and feelings in a respectful way, then I completely go hands off on this channel. The only time I've ever gone hands on is when I had a troll pop up and was just being downright ugly to people or to me or somebody else, because that's not what anybody needs when they're going through something like an addiction. You know, had one guy pop on one time, easy solution, stop being a selfish drug addict. Being a drug addict is a choice. Literally, that's what the guy's comment said. I was like, okay, dude, you're gone. Block. You know, and I never heard from that guy again. So I don't allow stuff like that. You know, I want the community guidelines here to remain respectful. And as long as you're doing that, we can have a give and take dialogue, you know, between two adults, and everything will be all kosher. Okay. So at getting to the points, 8074 says, you mentioned you would never do AA or NA. Why is that? I want to read my comment. Certainly nothing personal against AA or NA, or anyone feeling it's the path they need for living a complete and prosperous life. But the main component of it is that you're powerless over your addiction, therefore you can never use anything again. I freely admit up front, I absolutely have zero intention of going completely 100% sober for the rest of my life. If I want to have some drinks with my family or friends, or smoke a little herb once in a while, I won't be calling a sponsor or talking to a group about how I backslid. I personally just am not interested in that. Nothing to do with the groups per se. I wouldn't waste my time or the group's time. I also don't feel my addiction and or life is out of control to the point where it warrants that, honestly. That's a fair question by you though, buddy, and I appreciate you asking it. At getting to the points, 8074 responded to that very respectfully, might I add. He says, okay, I got you. I come from the train of thought that I cannot ingest any mind-altering substances because it wakes up an allergy of mind and body, which I'm sure you can attest to. I believe in 100% abstinence. It is not for everybody, but the spiritual component of it makes it much more tolerable living life on life's terms without anything in my system. My hat goes off to you for your success. Your videos are good. And my response to him was, I completely get that and respect that, buddy, and have lots of respect for those who have chosen that life. For me, I'd have to see a lot more dissension in my life as a result of substance abuse before I will consider that, but I completely get why many choose it. And I love seeing people live their best lives, so I am genuinely happy for those people. Thanks for the comment, my friend. I appreciate this side of the addiction coin. It's necessary for many, and appreciate you discussing it in a way that doesn't come across as judgmental. Honestly, a lot of folks from the NA and AA community can come across that way, and unfortunately it's a put off, and I think turns away many who should be in NA or AA. Kind of like a holy roller Christian shoving religion down the throats of others so much that it actually scares them away from Christianity. I just don't tolerate that very well. You haven't been like that at all, so thank you very much for that. I do like to be open-minded and explore objective options on this channel, so I'm open to all and anything that can help folks with addiction, even if it's different than what I personally practice. I still want for people's well-being, and maybe one day I will be where you are, brother. I'm open to that possibility. And after that, the same guy asked me earlier, what state are you watching from? Or what state are you in? I've been watching every one of your videos. So this guy's been watching every one of my videos. So he sees that this is a positive place, in spite of the fact that he's obviously part of AA, NA. That's something that he felt like he needed for his life. And bro, I 1000% applaud that. And I've shared before that, by the way, I'm in North Carolina, dude. I've already said that, I know, but I'm in North Carolina. And I've talked about before on here, I've known people in my past. I was really good friends with a guy in my early and mid 20s. And I won't say his name, but he was a good friend of mine. And we did a lot of drugs together, me and this guy. But he has passed away now. It was not from drugs, at least as far as I can tell. It was a car accident. As far as whether he was under the influence of anything, I don't know. I don't think he was. That was never mentioned by any of his family or anything. So I think he was sober when the car accident happened. He ended up dying and passing away as a 25-year-old guy. I was a couple of years older than him, so I was about 27, 28 at the time. But he was one of those guys where, even though I liked to experiment with drugs and try different things and this and that, I smoked some weed at that time. He and I used to always smoke weed and get high together. He was one of those guys where I was always just like, dude, please, you're gonna kill yourself on this shit. Just stop doing drugs, you know, because he was one of those people that did not know how to not go overboard. He just didn't. And he's the kind of guy that, you know, he would drop off the face of the earth for 2 or 3 days, and you're like, where's he at, dude? Where's he at? And you would learn he's, you know, shacked up at some guy's house, like doing meth or something. You know, he's that type of guy. Just was, you know, and he had a lot of trauma in his childhood. This is before I knew him, but when he was a younger teenager, he was actually in a car accident where he was driving, and one of his friends that was in the car with him actually passed away as a result, because he was a hemophiliac and a free bleeder, and he actually passed away as a result of him having the crash and crashing the car. And I know that had to have been tough. I thank the Lord that I've never had to experience anything like that, because I can imagine, you know, being the type of person I am, that would just be something so horrible and detrimental to get through, to get past, you know, and to live with. And I think that's a lot of why he was where he was with substances and things like that. But he's one of those people where I would have loved to have seen that guy get in AA or NA. He just, it was completely out of control for him. And he had no switch, no filter whatsoever in his brain that said to him, hey dude, you think you're going a little too far with this? Think you might need to dial it back a little bit, reel it back a little bit, homie? He didn't have that, you know. And me, even struggling with addiction most of my life, I still do have that, you know. I do have that switch, I do have that filter that kind of causes me to dial it back when I start getting a little bit, you know, a little bit far out there into the ocean, where I look back and like, damn, I can barely see the lifeguard. Oh shit, well let me, you know, let me get back in closer to the shore a little bit. It's getting a little scary out here, you know. And I have that, and a lot of people have that. A lot of people don't have that, you know. And when it comes to something like AA, NA, I think it's absolutely one of those things that a lot of people should take that sort of oath in their life to remain completely abstinent. And, you know, but it's one of those things where on this channel, that's a relationship and that's a struggle that everyone has to figure out for themselves. We can suggest it. You know, I can suggest XYZ. A person from NA or AA can suggest a whole different set of rules to live your life by. And then at the end of the day, it's really up to them, right? And where they're at, and whether they're even at the place of emotional maturity to even make that decision for their lives, you know. And a lot of people just have to get to a point where they're just downright sick and freaking tired of it, and then they'll make the decision. Can't force people into it, you know. And that's kind of where my diplomacy on here comes from. But anyway, getting to the points, 8074. Hey bro, I really appreciate it. I've got to jump off here because this is going to cut me off really soon. And I appreciate you guys watching. Like the video, subscribe if you've not, and leave a comment. Let us know what your story is. A lot of knowledge, a lot of collective knowledge on here, and the greatest group of subscribers you've ever seen in your life. All right, love you guys. We'll see you next time. Peace.